everybody, I'm Ben Momberg from Middelvlei Wine Estate. I'm actually doing a nice brunch for you today. I'm asked by Visit Stellenbosch, and I hope you're going to join me and enjoy this today. And since we're in lockdown, I'm just going to have one little bottle today, and I wish you all a happy Easter, happy family day, and hope you're going to enjoy what I'm going to dish up for you today in our brunch, what we're going to do for Middelvlei and for Visit Stellenbosch. Well, since Middelvlei is known for doing everything in a braai, sort of the brunch today is going to be on the fire as well. We're going to do a main dish, sort of one side dish, and then we're going to give you a nice little surprise on a dessert, what you're all going to love. But first of all, we need to get this thing going. There we go. Yeah, so we're going to actually on the starters, I'm going to leave the main dish a bit later, but on the starters we're going to do our real famous little Middelvlei braai broodjies, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And I know all of you is actually on Facebook and looking at the braai broodjie challenge. Go and have a look. So if you want to have your little braai broodjie on Middelvlei's menu after lockdown, please go and have a visit and put your recipes out there, and maybe you can actually outdone Middelvlei's braai broodjies, and we'll put you on the menu for every weekend for 6 months. Well, since we're doing a brunch today, and it's a bit early to drink any of my Middelvlei wines, we decided to go with Stellenbosch MCCs. And we're going to have wine from Hannes Nel from Loudensfruit, and then thank you very much for Barry and Quibus from Glenazalsa, and then obviously my preferred sparkling wine from Valeria, the Tradition. And I'm going to surprise this, and I'm just going to show you how we're going to do this. So the first thing you need to do is actually take out all the wrapping around the neck of the bottle, and then take off the capsule on top of that, and then actually and just make sure the wine is really nice and cold. This makes the effort more effortless, if I can put it that way. And then we're ready to go. Since all of you actually post on Facebook about the braai broodjie challenge, I'm going to share Middelvlei's traditional braai broodjie that actually made us famous out there. So first of all, you take the bread, and then I must say I think our special ingredient will be Mrs. Boere's chutney. That just brings out the more flavors. So on the one side, you're just going to put some nice ample of Mrs. Boere's chutney on the one side. There we go. And then the other nice ingredient is a bit of mayo on the other side. Just make sure that you actually put it on nicely. It's covering the whole bread on the one side, and obviously the chutney on the other side. And then obviously a braai broodjie is not actually a braai broodjie if you don't have nice onions on it. So you're going to put some onions on here. And I must say, this is one of those things that you can actually put whatever you like on it. I'm just showing you our version of what we've done that made us famous out there. And you just cut it in nice little slices like that. And you put it on the one end, doesn't matter on which end, just put in some nice little onion rings on there. And then obviously tomato. You need to have tomato on there. You can actually slice it as thick as you like, to your tasting, and just add it to the barbecue. And then obviously sort of we're using mozzarella cheese, and there's a reason for that, because mozzarella actually doesn't have that oiliness as your cheddar cheeses, so it just gives you a nice soft touch to the barbecue and actually sort of melts quickly, and you just add enough on there. There we go. And you just add these two together, and you're ready to go onto the grid. And just make sure, so if you put it on the grid, sort of use hot coals, but turn it frequently. You need it crisp on the outside and really nice. Cheese needs to be melted. The tomatoes needs to be warm and cooked. So please make sure that your coals are not too hot. If it's hot, just make sure that you don't even turn your back to turn and pour a glass of Middelvlei, because then it's going to be burned. So please make sure that you actually turn it frequently. We're going to start the starter, sort of like you can see, sort of like my big bottles, I'm not holding back anything, sort of make a nice big fire so you don't run out of any coals. So we're going to do the barbecue as a little hors d'oeuvre. Like I said, sort of need to get some hot coals on it. Make sure that your wine is close at hand, because you can't move too much if you do the barbecue on this side. So you need to turn it frequently. Oh, there we go. Let's put this little precious gem up there. Oh, there we go. Like I said, make sure, sort of, first of all, just loosen your grit a bit as well, because otherwise your barbecue will be stuck at the grit. And make sure that this coal is nice and hot. Watch it closely, and make so sure that it's nice and crisp. Everything is melted and cooked inside before you take it off. We need to have a runny cheese inside and a very nice crisp outside of the barbecue. Oh, you can see color coming through already. We might, that's the time where you actually need to put your glass down and let it breathe a bit, because otherwise sort of you're going to burn this. So well, for you guys sitting out there on your couch just looking at this, sort of, you can actually pour another glass as well. Pour another glass of bubbly if you like. We've got brilliant bubblies in Stellenbosch area, so please go ahead while you watch this and while you actually really sort of thinking what you're going to do today. Oh, it's coming on nicely, I must say. You can see the cheese is starting to melt on the outside, getting a nice color. Okay, so we're almost ready to take it off. It's nice and crisp outside. You can pick it up, you can see it's sticky, so the cheese is melted very nicely, and I think it's time to take it off and actually really enjoy this with a nice glass of Valeria bubbly at this stage, just as a before we do the main course. We're moving on to the main dish, and we're just going to do a modern version of the Boere or the Boere version of the Shakshuka that was done last week. is normally called sort of in a normal sort of society out there, it's called eiers. But since I've contacted my lawyer, he said sort of we'd rather go with a Boere version of Shakshuka than actually call it eiers, just for the sake of actually covering my Easter eggs, I suppose. I'm going to run you through the whole thing here now. Sort of, first of all, sort of, it's going to be a real Boere sort of version of that. Sort of, first of all, we need some nice little fresh onions. I prefer to use the white onion and the red onion, just to actually give the red onion just a bit more color to the dish. And then what we're going to do is sort of we're going to chop up chorizo. Chorizo gives more flavor to it, but if you don't have chorizo, sort of any boerewors or any sausage of your choice will work as well. But this does bring out a bit more nice flavors to it. And then how we're going to do this is actually we're going to fry this chorizo. We're going to cut it up in small little pieces, and then fry that with onions. And then in the course of frying that at the end, we're going to add some nice little cherry tomatoes. And this gives more consistency and color to the dish as well. And after that, we're going to add some more of the onion and tomato mix. And just heat it up nicely. And then we're going to add some 4 mixed beans. I'm not sure if you all know the 4 mixed beans, but this is one of the nicest beans you can buy, and actually sort of really healthy and wholesome as well. So we're going to heat this all up in the pan, big pan that is already heating up in the fire. And then sort of people, sort of before you start using olive oil or virgin olive oil and all those funny things, I'm using Natalia's grapeseed oil today. Support the wine farmers as well, and support Natalia. And I think he's a great guy, still supporting wine industry as well. Use this, it's low in calories, it's really healthy as well. So I'm going with this today, and Valeria Sparkling, or MCC. Not allowed to call it sparkling wine, it's MCC for my dish. And then sort of the nicest part of this whole dish is we're going to add, sort of after it's been cooked, we're going to actually, you need to spice it sort of nicely as well with spices that you actually really like. I actually prefer some garlic and herb, some lemon pepper and rosemary and olive on my dish. But you guys can actually do whatever you like. So after that whole sort of lot is being cooked, sort of we can actually make little holes in this whole pan and add some eggs to it. I think we might, the pan is quite big, so we might add about 8 to 10 eggs to it, and then top that up with cream cheese and pesto, just to give them more bit of nicer flavors. And then just before we serve it, we're going to put some rocket leaves on top of it, and just actually so you can have a nice little Boere sort of brunch out there to serve to your guests. And just remember, sort of, it is really easy to do. You can do it inside, on your stove, outside on a fire. I'm just doing this because sort of I like a nice fire, especially this time of year, and especially coming to Middelvlei's Boere, sort of that's what we do. start today, we can actually start with the onions, nice hot plate, and then add the chorizo's immediately with that. So we're just going to actually get them to a golden color and let them actually sort of just actually be nice and juicy. And then obviously we're going to add some of Natalian's little olive oil, not olive oil, sorry, grapeseed oil. So that don't make a mistake there. It's going to be fatal for your success on your dish. So we're going to fry this nice and sort of nice and golden, and then we're going to add some of the onion and tomato sort of puree. We heat it up a bit, and then we're going to start adding the 4 mixed beans, and then from there on sort of I'll actually guide you through the whole process on how to actually really get everything up and going and to secure a fantastic dish for your people sitting there drooling all over your couch at this stage. We still got our little Valeria sort of in hand. Should braise this a bit later or earlier, and fantastic wine sort of MCC to go with this fantastic dish. Aye, lekker. It's very important to actually keep on stirring to spread all the onions, sort of they're actually getting, sort of as I cut them, they're actually spreading all over the little pan. The little grapeseed oil just adds a bit of more sort of juiciness to the whole plate. And actually sort of because the chorizos actually will start, when they start heating up, sort of will actually have nice sort of juices coming through on while we're heating them up as well. So the olive of the grapeseed oil is just there to really get the onions going. You can see they're turning nice and brown at this stage. We just need them to get to a nice little sort of a golden color. At this stage, sort of keep your heat up. I think it's very important to get the onions sort of cooked and everything else, and especially when you're going to start adding sort of your tomato and onion sort of mix and your beans, which is actually room temperature, sort of is going to bring the heat down quite sort of dramatically. So if you look at the pan at this stage, the chorizo's are really nice and brownish and nice flavors coming through in the onions. The onions are sort of nice and glazy. So now we're going to add all this little cherry tomatoes, and this is just really to give it a more substance, a bit more color in it. You can really look at it. Look at the beautiful colors coming through from the little cherry tomatoes already. And I think at this stage, sort of, I'm going to spice it a bit. Sort of, I love my lemon and pepper sauce spice. I think sort of that will work very nicely on there. And obviously, sort of garlic and herbs. Sort of, not that everybody needs to wonder, sort of, that somebody's going to smell you sort of because you had garlic. So I'm going to put some ample garlic on this. Sort of nobody's going to really smell you, sort of unless sort of Facebook and Zoom and all those things got a smell sensor implemented on their on a social media platform. And then the last one, oh, I must say my favorite, olive and rosemary. This gives that extra little flavors to the dish. And then obviously you need to really mix that in. So it's almost like swirling wine. You need to get everything sort of intact with what you've got in the pan, like your palate as well. So the next step will be actually to put in the tomato and onion mix. And when that is nicely warm and cooked through, we're going to add the 4 mixed beans into this. And I hope at this stage all of you was actually doing a little bribery key, if it's in the snack pizza or wherever you are. I think just to actually keep you going into sort of getting into this fantastic dish, and just actually keep your mouth watering up until stage. We prefer to use the tomato and onion mix because that's just an easy way out. Sort of, otherwise you need to go and, well, fresh is always better, but I think for at this stage, sort of where we are in our lives, sort of this is just a better option. And this actually, by a little can, is already done for you, and you can add it there, and the quality is always fantastic. Now we need to add it. Oh, there we go. I'm going to add another 2 little. Oh, jeez. I'm going to add another one of these and another one. And the reason for that is because I come from a very large family. So we're all in isolation. So I'm going to send some of this out to the rest of the family after I've sanitized it and sprayed it with hand sanitizer. So there we go. At this stage, so that we can actually put a bit more heat in it. You can see how the cherry tomatoes really stands out in this dish. And this is where you need to be very careful. You can actually add more heat, but be very careful because tomato sauce and tomato, it tends to really burn very quickly. So you need to manage your heat very carefully on this, but you need to make it warm enough so you can add your 4 mixed beans into this. There we go. We'll let them rest for a while and cook through, and then we'll add the rest of the stuff. So now we actually have got this whole thing really going very nicely. So now we're going to add the 4 mixed beans, and just make sure, sort of keep the lid up and just actually pour out most of the brain that's in there. There we go. And then add the beans to your dish. I'm going to add another 2 or 3 of this. There we go. So now we actually having a totally different texture on this dish. Now we can see this whole thing is coming together nicely. I think you can see the texture on this. Heat is 100%, and I must say, sort of, I might just add another can of beans into this. Well, I actually wanted to add another can of bean to this, but it seems like this thing is on lockdown as well and don't have an opener, so we're going to skip this one. So, but next time, sort of 3 cans of onion mix and 3 cans of 4 mixed beans. Like I said, this one is on lockdown, can't use it, sorry. And now you can see this thing is coming together bloody nice. We just need to get it a bit to really get going, get warm right through, and then we're going to actually, if the consistency is right, we can actually make a little hole everywhere here, and we can put some eggs in there, and we can actually fill or put on top of the eggs. We're going to do a bit of pesto and cream cheese. Okay, so now we need to put the eggs in there. So you can see everything has been nicely reduced. So we're actually sitting with a very nice little platform to put the eggs in. What you do is just actually make a little hole like that, and what you do is then you just actually put a little egg in there. Oh, beautiful. Well, I'm not as fancy as some of my colleagues that actually break them with one hand, but at least my egg stays sort of whole. And we can add some cream cheese on top of every egg. Oh, there we go. You can actually use really a nice amount of this. This actually, when you dish up, it just actually really makes a big difference, sort of. Oh, a bit more there. There we go. And there we go, you also. And now, I think, there we go. And now, just add a bit of a pesto on top of that, just to really make it more interesting, and the flavors coming from the pesto will be amazing. But again, sort of please make sure that you reduce the heat, because this is a very critical sort of time, because now you're going to cover this. There we go. You're going to cover this with tin foil. For all of your husbands or working wives out there, it's always the shiny side down, please. So otherwise you're going to stand here and you can serve dinner eventually, but the shiny side down, so that will reflect all the heat back onto your pan, and just cover that. And this again is a peripheral paste, sort of you can actually take it out if you like your eggs done sort of a bit more medium to dry or whatever. Sort of you can do that. Sort of you can control this by taking this off, sort of every now and then. Just have a look, and I like mine a bit more runny, give more texture to the dish, and this actually makes it more sort of what do you call it? Afrikaans kan ek sê net baie lekkerder. So just actually have a look, but close it down, let the eggs cook as well. So you've already reduced your heat, And I must say, you're going to love this, so if you're going to be amazed what's underneath this. This is absolute perfect. So what we normally do now is actually sort of coming from big families, sort of each family member got the egg. So what you do is you dish it up like that. There we go. You can add a bit of more juice in there. People, look at that. This is amazing. Look at that egg, still intact. Fantastic. With Easter weekend sort of on hand, we decided to do a dessert really sort of in Easter spirit, and in these difficult times, I think that might actually lift your spirits a bit. What we're going to do is we can actually use a hot cross bun. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to half that like that, and another one like that. And now, this is a surprise. Then you add a little soft, little Easter egg on top of that. Oh, come on. Like that. You add it up like that. Get rid of that, and then you actually going to put that into a little jaffle pan. Oh, I see there's another one there, so I'll do this one as well. And just to make sure that we're on the same page, this is the little Easter egg we're talking about. Needs to be the yellow one inside, and the white and the chocolate. This is the one that really works very well with the hot cross buns that we're doing. There we go. And put that one in there as well. There we go. You can actually put this in the coals or just above the coals. But this is really sort of on your Monday, sort of family day. Try this out. If you do have anything in your house, try this. I think this might just actually lift the spirits. I think we all need a bit of positivity in what's going on in industries as well. Be positive, be safe, and really enjoy Easter and wiggle that thing. Be positive. Enjoy.